To our Fox Biz All-Stars, Jonathan Honig, Dan Frishberg, Jonas Max Ferris, and Tracy Burns. Jonathan, I don't know. I know I'm like the crazy guy, the William Shatner guy. There's a monster on the wing of the plane, and I'm just wondering, does anyone see the dude on the plane tearing it up? What is going on here?
Is Barney Frank the monster in that example?
Actually, yes.
Is that it?
Actually,
okay,
yes.
But
we've got Paulson flying the damn plane. So I don't know what's going on here, Don. But I just think this put the fear of God into everybody, and to what end?
I don't get it either, Neil. I'm bewildered. I mean, you know, they're so worried about Sunday night. Hello, the markets were open today. As Tobacco pointed out, they were actually up. They've been up the whole week.
Well, the cockamamie excuse I heard for that, if you can believe it, was on optimism that a deal will be scored. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, Neil, the volatility in this market really started. I mean, the credit crisis has been going on for a year. The volatility really picked up after Bear Stearns, after the government really started playing an active role into re-regulating this market. And, you know, I'm glad the market was up today, but I'd tell you, I couldn't go home very long this market with a lot of conviction, knowing that Hank Paulson and Barney Frank were going to basically rewrite the rules of capitalism over the weekend. They're creating the volatility. They're not calming it.
But this whole notion that the Asian markets are going to fall apart, we heard this last weekend. And we came into no deal, and the Asian markets seemed to be just fine, as did we had a pretty decent week considering all was going on. So this scare tactic, I think, is kind of burning off. I mean, today was a perfect example. I can't imagine, even if by Monday we don't have a deal, that anything falls off. At this point, I just think they want it done, and they want it done right. This notion of a deadline is kind of out the window.
Dan, let's say we do something much simpler. It's either re-regulate or whatever, which, by the way, could also present a host of difficulties. And that's where we leave it. We don't pour any billions into institutions. We don't buy up any bad debt. We don't do any of that stuff. What happens?
Well, you know, we could just tip for the $700 billion. You could give $450,000 to each person, each adult in the United States. The thing is, you don't get it back if you do that. The thing about Paulson's plan is, and you know that I've managed a big bond portfolio for years. Those bonds are worth money, and he will make money on them. And what he's trying to do is what he did do at Goldman Sachs, as the guy said before. He wants to buy those bonds and have them make a profit, and this thing come out costing very little or even not costing anything. And all the other things they want to do are going to cost money, Neil. And as far as what's going to happen Sunday, the markets aren't going to have that big of a problem on Sunday or Monday. Who knows? But today, a bunch of deals didn't get done. People didn't borrow money. People didn't buy things. They didn't build houses. And so that means those people aren't going to buy furniture and appliances. And the trains
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I've got stats from the Federal Reserve, whose chairman, and Jonas, you can help me with this, whose chairman was saying credit's dried up, that people aren't able to get so much as a nickel. And this is as of the latest week. Lending for commercial going up. Lending even for real estate went up a little bit. Lending on revolving accounts went up. Now I grant you, this doesn't include the last 48 hours, so I'm sure it all just stopped. But I'm telling you...
No, but...
Go ahead, make your point.
I was just, well, no, I was just at the, I was just doing a radio show, so I was just at the Fed's page, and I was looking at commercial lending, and it's down significantly.
Well, no, it's not.
JP Morgan's raising money to buy these distressed bank assets, so someone can raise money and pick up these.
I'm not arguing, guys, I'm not arguing, Jonas, this is what I am arguing, that I'm not saying that this won't have an effect, and a chilling effect for a while. But I got the impression, watching a lot of broadcasts today, not Fox, because we don't do that, but that it was the end of the world.
Right.
And if you wanted to commit suicide, now might be a good time.
Well, the danger you're bringing up is they've created a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you know, the president and the secretary of the Treasury come out and say, if we don't get this done soon, it's going to be 1929.
Doesn't that remind you of like a bully pitch?
Yeah, well, because look, the financial markets, they're built on confidence. If you have important people telling you it will fall apart without something done, then if nothing's done, it'll happen, and that's not fair. I think at the very least they probably could just do something small to stop the collapse and then spend some more time doing something that isn't so rash and expensive at the very least.
To your point, and this is I am a small microcosm of this world, but I am considering moving. Not only did I call my realtor and my mortgage guy, and they were both like, Sure, let's go. We're ready.
Well, because you're Tracy Burns.
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying, I thought the initial reaction was going to be,
well, that's like Honig.
ready?
If Honig goes into a store, I mean, they're all like flies around honey.
No,
I mean,
but I thought he was going to say the market is crazy right now. Don't do it.
but see that, Jonathan?
But just to give an example from more recent history, I mean, remember about 6 months ago when all those SIVs were failing, and
right.
Paulson stepped in and said, we need to create this super SIV. And you know what? The market figured, we didn't need it.
We didn't need it. Oh, that's all I'm saying, guys.
The market figured it out.
We're going to watch this very closely. We're going to watch the presidential debate tonight. We're going to watch Fox Business coverage of this. We're going to be here back in a couple hours as these two guys go toe-to-toe. We're going to then pick apart what they say, whether there is a disaster really going on here, whether it is the end of the world going on here, whether it's a catastrophe that both candidates have said will go on here if we don't get this deal. And then I'll provide for you razor blades, and you decide if you need them on Fox Business.